Good morning and welcome to April. May it not be as capricious as March was. My name is Annie Förster and I am minister to this congregation. Thank you, Sherry.
And welcome to First Jefferson Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Bonnie Moat and I'm teaching a class called Wicca 101 this semester.
How is the class going, Donnie?
It's going great. We've had several curious UUs. You know, we always have questions here, and they've joined us just to learn a little bit.
Okay.
And today's class, we're going to be covering why we cast a circle and what we put on our altar.
All right, that sounds great. I wish I could be there. Other adult religious exploration sessions have started up recently before church during the pre-worship period, starting at 9:45. They're offering rotating selections of classes in Jagger's Parlor, and I will be leading the discussion next Sunday, beginning the review on our mission statement and revising our vision statement if we decide to do that. And later I'll be taking the discussion to the whole congregation.
The weeks after that will include...
Will include what?
Whoops.
No, there's nothing in this.
There's nothing to include.
The script is empty. Well, weeks after that that's because I didn't know and I failed to find out. So it will be a mystery, but there's going to be something going on. Today is Potluck Sunday. Guests are welcome to stay and eat with us. And if you haven't done so yet, turn in your stewardship pledge for the next fiscal year. There's a blue bowl out there for you.
And don't forget to include those volunteer hours in your pledge. Remember, it takes a whole village to make a church. And I have a few announcements for this morning. This one. The name change voting begins today. The list of suggested names is posted on the large plate glass windows in the foyer. You'll get 3 colored sticky dots to use to place on the name or names that you prefer. You can put all of your dots in one name, or you can spread them out on other names if you wish. Voting is also available online starting today.
Right.
Check your inbox for an email from the church with a link to the online voting. If you vote at the church, do not vote online. The in-person votes will be combined with the online votes, and the results will be posted next Sunday. I know it's tempting to vote twice, but really, honor system here, people. Okay, voting today will happen after the service, before, during, and after potluck. Check with the name change committee in the foyer to pick up your colored sticky dots to mark your votes.
Okay, and you know, I find this so exciting, just the fact that we have 47 choices. I took my insert and started through, okay, I like that, and I found I had 6 favorites, and I have to narrow that down to 3, and next week you will get only 2 dots. Warning. All right, I think it's time to start our worship with music, and our prelude is One Beautiful Morning by Mark Lanson. Thank you, Misha. Open the door of your hesitant heart. Let the light shine on all the sleeping shadows.
Awaken to this day that offers itself to you and to all, and with a great extravagance.
Awaken to this gift, this beauty, this chance, that we might still begin again and anew.
That we might be changed by the in and out of breath.
That we might still burst forth like the crocuses, that we might still surprise this earth with a new song.
Sung together, calling us all in, and then sending us back out.
And know it all as a blessing. Come, let us worship together. And come, let us sing together. We're going to start with hymn number 42 in the hymnal. The words will be on your screen. Morning so fair to see. And please stand as you're willing and able, and then remain standing for the lighting of the chalice. We summon ourselves from the demands and delights of the daily round, from the dirty dishes and the unwaxed floors. Yeah, I left dirty dishes in my sink this morning. We summon ourselves to attend to our vision of the lovely and the holy, and who we are and what we can do. We summon the power of tradition and the exhilaration of newness. We summon beauty, eloquence, poetry, and music. We awaken with the light. Bonnie, would you lead us in our affirmation this morning?
Yes. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus do we covenant with one another.
Please be seated. I have a kind of triple question this morning about awakening. I looked at the sign when I came in on Wednesday for office hours, and I thought, not a good choice of title. What does that mean to people zipping by? Awakening. So my question to you are, what does it mean for you to be awake, to wake up? And then the question becomes, from what? All right, I think it is, there's nothing on the screen. It's the story for all ages. Bonnie, you can sit down and I will go and I will talk to the children. Or if you want to come and join me,
down there with you.
we'll talk to the children together.
Okay.
Good morning. How are you? Haven't seen you for a while. Your smiling face. Oh, look at what?
You want to sit up here?
What? Are you 4? Is that what you said? You had a birthday recently, didn't you? But you didn't. I know what we're saying. I had bought a candle for you to light because it was your birthday and you didn't get there that Sunday. Would you like to light it this Sunday? I would like that too. Now let me see if I can find the candle. Yes, it's still here. This is our new birthday candle. And I'm going to take a light from the chalice. All right. And can you stand? Michael, can you stand? Stand up because I want you to be steady on your feet. Okay, take this light carefully, and light the birthday candle. No, just bend it down to the light like this. You're going to light the candle. Oh, that's it. All right. Happy birthday, 4-year-old. And we're going to put this, yes, see? And put that up there to shine through our whole service to remember that you're now 4 years old. Whew, I'm glad we got that done. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Well, I want to tell you a story that's an old story out of India, but nobody knows who wrote it. So it's been told in many ways, and I'm just going to tell you in my way about this story. There was a water barrier. Do you know what a water barrier is? Well, in some villages, they don't have running water like we do in our houses. And so people have to bring water to people's houses, or the people have to go out to the river to get water. So sometimes they have a water bearer who carries water on a yoke on his shoulders, a bucket in each yoke, on the end of each yoke. Okay, well, this water bearer had 2 large buckets that he used, and one hung at each end of this pole, which he carried around his neck. And one of the pots was perfectly made, never leaked, never had a problem, but the other pot had a crack in it. And when the bearer reached the master's house where he was delivering the water, half of the water had leaked out of the pot. So he had 1 full pot and 1 half pot. Well, for 2 full years, this went on every day, with the bearer delivering only 1.5 pots of water to the master's house. And of course, the perfect pot was proud of its accomplishments, as you would be too. But the poor cracked pot was ashamed of its own imperfection. And that sometimes happens to people too, you know. We think, I'm not perfect and I'm not happy. And that little pot was miserable because it could only accomplish half of what it wanted to do. Well, after 2 years of what it perceived to be a bitter failure, the pot spoke to the water bearer one day and said, I'm so ashamed of myself. I want to apologize to you. And the bearer said, why? Why do you have to apologize? What are you ashamed of? He says, I have been able for these past 2 years to deliver only half of my load because of this crack in my side, and the water leaks out all the way back to the master's house. And because of my flaws, you have to do all the work, and you don't get the full value of your efforts. And the pot started to cry. I mean, there's nothing more pitiful than seeing a pot that cries. Well, the water bearer felt sorry for the old cracked pot, and in his compassion he said, as we return to the master's house, I want you to notice something. I want you to notice the beautiful flowers along the path. And indeed, as they went by up the hill, the old cracked pot took notice of the sun warming the wild flowers on one side of the path. And this cheered him some, but at the end of the trail, it still felt bad because it had leaked half of its load, and so again the pot apologized to the bearer for its failure. But the bearer said to the pot, did you notice that there were flowers only on one side of the path? On your side, and not on the other. Because you have done what I have always known. You watered those beautiful flowers and kept them alive by giving them water every day. And for 2 years, I've been able to pick some of these beautiful flowers and give them to the master to decorate his table. And without you being just the way you are, we wouldn't have had this beauty to give to his house. Isn't that a lovely story? Each of us has our own unique flaws. We're all cracked pots in some way. But if we allow it, the universe will use what we can't do perfectly, and it will grace the universe's table. With great economy, nothing goes to waste. Don't be afraid of your flaws if you think that you're flawed, because you're perfect the way you are. Acknowledge them, and you too can be the cause of beauty, because we know that in our weaknesses is where we find the beginning of our strengths. So will you remember that as we go through? You're tired. Did you not sleep well last night? Oh, I get tired like that too. Maybe you can rest for the rest of this hour. Yes, but right now we're going to sing to you wherever you're going to go. If you're going back to the nursery, that's fine. If you're going to stay in the service, and I understand that over by the door to my office, that's the youth corner. That's where they sit. This is lovely. As we leave this friendly place, love give light to every face. May the I'm going to do something. I'm going to put something else in here before the offertory, so you can sit down. I think it says in your order of service that there will be a light on leadership. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Instead, we will have a leader of this church talking, but he's going to be talking about pledging and money and fellowship and why he agreed to do this 2 years in a row.
No, thank you. I'm Dan Sexton. I'm the treasurer and also helping co-chair the stewardship drive. And I want to say that as of last Sunday, we collected $38,000 in pledges, and that's like 22% of our goal. So that's very good. I thank you, everyone who pledged, and I'm very gratified to see many pledges in the bowl out on the collection table that we've got there today. So I'm hopeful, and we have a strong start. I've been going to this church 20-some years, and we've had 2 of our 3 kids have been married in this church, and I think we have hope for the third. I mean, maybe. And this church has supported my family through many challenges, and we've had a lot of joys here. And I support this church, and I want this church to be stronger. And I think we can, together we can put in the time, and I think together we can put in the money, to make this church, stronger, better, that warm, welcoming place that has a standing in the community where, people know what First Jefferson is about. So I invite you to join me in our continued support, and we'll move on with our, and the other thing was, is to let it be a dance. I thought that Annie suggested that, and it's such a great theme because it has a hint of fun. And after all this COVID stuff and all, I am ready for some fun, I tell you. And I think we need this summer we need to have some fun as a church. I mean, after everything's open, we can have some fun. So I invite you to complete your pledges, and then let's think about how we grow and make this church a stronger place. Thank you.
This is a sacred time in our worship when the focus is on the community and not on the individuals that comprise it. Yes, it wouldn't exist if you all weren't a part of it, but it does exist, and it requires your attention and support. The community gives much to the individual: fellowship, relationships, challenges, support, attention, opportunities, comfort, education, nourishment, lessons, entertainment, and friends. But it needs your support to keep it going. This month, we are sharing the plate with Tarrant Literacy Coalition. This is how they describe themselves. Through our literacy and learning programs, we offer training and technical support to literacy teachers, tutors, and volunteers. Our Project Best Support programs offers classes 2 nights a week to help prepare adults for the high school equivalency exam. We help coordinate English language and citizenship classes, and we work with LinkedEd and Literacy Connexus to offer Learn for Life, a program in which volunteers tutor adults who need help to improve their reading skills. All these classes are offered at no charge to the adult students. We are already working with reading partners to improve reading skills in 1st through 3rd grade students. This new partnership is helping to make a significant difference among adults in our communities. As the greeters pass among you, please be generous.
And for those curious about beauty, the offertory was Edward Grieg's Butterflies. Bonnie, you can sit down and rest for a while. I'll take it from here for the next few minutes. The poet Eden Philpotts wrote, "The universe is full of magical things, patiently waiting for our wits to grow sharper." Well, our story for all ages suggested this morning that even when we are flawed or only feel like we're flawed, we are useful in the scheme of things. It's important to remember. That may be one sign of being awake, to know that, being aware that our so-called imperfections are social constructs that have no meaning other than to deflect us from another person's feelings of inferiority. We're catching on to this fact at last, putting it out there, taking away its powers little by little. We are acknowledging, for instance, that white supremacy is a constructed system designed to keep the power and the right within a small group of people, with not one piece of evidence or truth for its existence. We are beginning to call people out for body shaming, which has just been a virulent thing in the past. We're talking about ageist assumptions and that people of greater age are worth something because they have experience to share with us. We still have a lot of things to do. These kinds of mind-numbing assumptions of lesser worth were seeds planted long ago, which have created forests of long standing. They need to be cut down and cut out, one by one, and that may take a long time. But we can start by not planting them in upcoming generations. We need to tell future generations that they can accomplish anything and are not limited by their size, their shape, their color, their gender, or how much money their parents have in the bank. I've always been grateful to my mother, who responded to my childhood whining, "I'm bored, what can I do?" Not by distracting me and not by suggesting what I should do, but she said to me, "If you're bored with yourself, just think how your friends must feel. You'd better go, you better go find a way to make yourself more interesting, or you won't have any friends left." And I would hurry off to make myself more interesting by writing a poem or by coloring a picture in non-standard colors or learning a new trick on the jungle gym. And I learned to be my own self and eventually learned to be happy with that. Still, I have to admit, as a teenager, I was caught up in the fear that my body wasn't up to the standards of Hollywood beauty, and that I was too smart for a girl, as I had been told many times, and would never have a boyfriend. And yes, one definition of being awake is unlearning the untruths someone has wrongly taught you. But Eden Philpotts intrigued me. He had a different definition. He thought we were blind to that which is around us, to the everyday magic of life. He suggested we are so used to believing that what we see is everyday and ordinary, that we have to stop believing in the magic of creation. Every time I turn my computer off, it comes back on with a new scenic picture and a message that reads, "Do you like what you see? Do you want more?" I'm sure you've seen that yourself. And if I'm too busy, the universal excuse for being blind to my surroundings, I don't click on the response choice. I simply erase the picture and get right on to the program I need to produce, or write a new sermon, or balance my checkbook, or check out the delivery schedule of my recent online purchases. But on the days I override the busy button, I am charmed by the collection of photographs I am given to see, and I know I am learning to look more fully and be more awake to the magic in the world, the real scenery of the world that is outside my window. I looked out the window when I was thinking about this, and there are 3 new red flags in the vacant lot next door. Perhaps the new owners are going to build their house just there. Oh, I can't wait. It's so exciting. And the shrub against the fence is filled with new growth buds. And you know what? They're not green. They're orange. And they remind me that spring is a miracle. And that black cat that bedevils my dog with its occasional presence in our yard is wandering around outside my window in the valley below the levee. She looks pretty sleek for a stray cat. Does she find rodents there, or has she convinced some neighbor to feed her? Cats are so smart and so beautiful, and I find myself smiling at the magic show around me, and awake to the fact that I should never be so busy as to ignore it or to miss out on so much of life. Yes, that is another definition of awakening, and I believe there are more. But first, let's sing another hymn, number 12 in the hymnal, "O Life that Maketh All Things New."
not. Linda Passam, you tell me to live each day as if it were my last. But why the last, I ask? Why not live each day as if it were the first? All raw astonishment, eye rubbing, her eyes awake that very first morning.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Thank you, Bonnie. Anne Lamott, an author who to me is just so awake and so full of wisdom, wrote this little warning for us. Oh my God, what if you wake up someday and you never got your memoir or novel written? Or if you were just so strung out on perfectionism and people-pleasing that you forgot to have a big, juicy, creative life of imagination and radical silliness. Oh, I love radical silliness. It's going to break your heart. Don't let this happen. Repent. Repent just means to change direction, she says, and not to be said by someone who is wagging their forefinger at you. Repentance, she says, is a blessing. Pick a new direction and aim for that. Shoot the moon. Well, 2 more dangers in life to be made aware of, lest we fall asleep under their spell: procrastination and perfectionism. Oh my, wouldn't life be easier if it came with instructions? This is hard, we tell ourselves, and then we set about seeking someone who sounds like they know the proper formula or recipe or direction, and we set about writing instructions for our own lives and then trying to convince someone else to live this way as well. Usually our children, because they are more likely to listen for a while or don't yet know any better. But look, I'll tell you right off, and I think I've told you this before, I don't have any answers. I'm not giving you advice. I'm just saying, look, I noticed this, or has this ever happened to you? Or sometimes I say, I read somewhere that. I'm just a reader. I read books and poetry, and I think I like to try to read signs along the way, things that happen to me the same way they happen to you, because there are no owner's manuals attached to our belly buttons when we are born. I'm inclined to pick through the ashes of my life to look for clues so that I don't burn down another part of it the same way. And I'm also the kind of person who tends to share what she discovers, you know that about me, which could be really annoying in a friend, but seems to be perfectly permissible because you pay me to do it. But I should let you know, I may learn things from my mistakes, but I go on continuing to set other fires and make other mistakes. I am not perfect, like you. And I do procrastinate. Believe Lamott when she says, someday you will wake up and be disappointed at what you have done. I've told you before that when I retire in June, I'm going to finish a novel I started and have been too busy to work on while I'm employed. What I didn't tell you, oh, this is so shameful, is that I started this novel 40 years ago. I've lugged it around through 6 different states, and I've unpacked it in Lord knows how many houses. And I'm realizing if I don't finish it pretty soon, I'm going to wake up dead one morning, 54 pages from the end, and no one will have a clue what I had in mind, and I will be so disappointed in myself. More disappointed in the real possibility that when I do finish it, no one will want to read it anyway. But that's another matter entirely, and I'm not preaching about that this morning. So repent, says Lamott, meaning wake up. Repent doesn't really mean to change direction. It means to regret sincerely. But can you think of a better reason to change direction? No, you might as well believe it means change direction. Another useful meaning for awakening, another direction to aim for. And remember this while you're deciding what direction that you want to choose, not having instructions written for your life. It is not a bad thing. It gives you the freedom that you are always claiming you want when you say, I don't have time, or I wish I could simply start over. Tell yourself the story of your life, and then rewrite what you think of as the ending. If you're within the sound of my voice, the ending has not yet been written. One of my favorite authors, Frederick Buechner, says, whenever you find tears in your eyes, especially unexpected tears, it is well to pay the closest attention. They are not only telling you something about the secret of who you are, but they are speaking to you of the mystery of where you should go next. Awake. Every Sunday, we share with one another the communion of names and milestones. There's a book out in the lobby where you can fill in the story you want to share this week, and I have a couple to share with you. But I want to thank, first of all, those who contributed to the Playground Fund. First, there was somebody who put $500 in the plate just to go to the repairs of the Playground Fund. And that is so exciting that somebody thought that our children and the children that go to school here are so worthwhile. Yay, whoever that was. And I also want to say thank you to Christina Lucas and Jules Black. Jules, will you stand up, because Christina isn't in the sanctuary this morning. Yay! Because they have worked so hard. Don't go on with the teleprompter because we're missing the total amount. I want to get to that. Go back. Thank you. They've worked so hard and almost exclusively alone, I understand. And the total contributions with the Share the Plate Fund were $696.05. I'm sure that 5 cents is going to go toward paying tax if we have to do this. And thank you, Jules and Christina, for working so hard on this project. And I'm looking forward to seeing how beautiful our new playground is. We need more manual labor. Good thing to know. We need a new direction for you. Work on changing the playground. I have 2 more stories from the book. Thank you so much, says Joe Burnham, from Don't Forget to Feed Me. So many generous donations, and our CUPS group donated $100 toward this. Thank you, CUPS. Please remember, when $1 helps our cause and feeds so many dogs and cats who would have to be in shelters if not for you during this difficult time, starting with COVID. And then Joe says, P.S. Mr. Biscuit, this is her cat, is doing better. Thank you for your prayers. Yes. Michael Zepeda asks that you keep his friends Pat and Wayne in your prayers. They are both beginning treatments for cancer. Oh, we're sorry. Pat and Wayne are going through this, and we will indeed think of them. We don't know who they are, but we know Michael, and I'm sure he has lovely friends just because of who he is. Let us take a moment to consider the stories that live in this community, the stories that are shared on Sunday morning, stories that are shared individually, and those that just live in the heart of this community because we are a community. And let us share the silence as we remember those who belong with us in this beloved community. eyes during the meditation, and when I opened them, I looked up, and there were these lovely lights, the 3 candles for the stories, the light of our chalice, the helper candle, and the lights over there on the meditation table, where you can go light a candle at any time during the service. And I thought, they really are the stories that live in this community. They really are the lights of our joys and concerns. Buddha talked a lot about awakening, of seeing through all the fog of expectations and false admonitions handed you from misguided guides. He believed that if we opened ourselves to the universe, it would provide us with knowledge, and by our listening we would enrich the universe itself. By our knowledge and listening, we would enrich the universe itself. Buddhist teacher Alan Watts put it this way: through our eyes, the universe is perceiving itself. Through our ears, the universe is listening to its harmonies. We are the witnesses through which the universe becomes conscious of its glory, of its magnificence. Oh my, a little poetry never hurts when one is on the path to enlightenment. But there's another opinion. There always is. John Wellwood, a clinical psychologist and poet, said, forget about enlightenment. Sit down wherever you are and listen to the wind singing in your veins. Feel the love. Feel the longing. Feel the fear in your bones. Open your heart to who you are right now, not who you would like to be, not the saint you are striving to become, but the being right here before you, inside you, around you. All of you is holy. You are already more and less than whatever you can know. Breathe out. Touch in. Let go. You know what I hear in that? I hear that we did not come with instructions, just not written, that we did come with instructions, just not written ones. I hear that what is good and precious and alive and yes, holy is already there within each of us. If we take the time, if we pause, if we listen, if we believe in ourselves, accept the good things people say about us and reject the scurrilous ones, we will know what to do with our one wild and precious life, as Mary Oliver called it. I think experimenting is part of it. I think experimenting and failing is a big part of it. Learning from our failures, changing direction, repenting. Don't plan to become famous or go into politics if you haven't had any failures in your life, because in this unenlightened world, they will be found out and they will be used against you. Count on it. And that's a shame, because how do you know who you are unless you make mistakes? How do you become something better if you don't learn what doesn't work? How can you understand what others need so you can open yourself to what others can give you if you don't try to fix what didn't work the first time? And sainthood? Nah, that's not what you want either. Take off the armor. You want to feel the love and the longing. You also, though you may not know it, want to feel the fear, because it's what tells you more than anything that you are alive, that you are awake. Breathe out, Wellwood said. Touch in. Oh, we already know that one. Breathe in peace. Breathe out love. Let go. Awaken. Our closing hymn is number 78, Color and Fragrance. We're going to sing verses 1, 2, 3, and 5. If you're looking at the screen, those will be up there. And I'm giving you an option to sing. The chorus says God's vision growing, and you can sing Love's vision growing if you would rather do that. Number 78. Our lights have glowed this morning for many things we hold dear, for one another, for the stories that live in this community, for the beloved community and all the things that we learn here, the bright things of life and the dark things of life, because they are of a piece. We extinguish them because we take them with us each day and bring them back the next. Alan Watts, who was a Buddhist, said, "Enlightenment or awakening is not the creation of a new state of affairs, but the recognition of what already is." So may it be in all our lives. Please join me now in the potluck, in voting our first vote on our name change, and in signing up for the preaching seminar that starts at the end of this month. Go in peace.